The Open Air University of Nigeria had 3 kings, and everyone knew their names. Shola drove a champagne gold Mercedes G-Wagon that caught sunlight like a promise. Kehinde's Range Rover was matte black, windows tinted so dark you couldn't see inside. Bayo preferred his red Porsche Cayenne, the engine purring like a satisfied cat whenever he pulled up to campus. They called themselves the Trio, never their real names, always Big Shola, K-Stacks, and Bayo the Bull. They wore designers most students couldn't pronounce: Balenciaga, Off-White, Gucci, head to toe. Their phones were always the latest iPhones, upgraded the moment a new model dropped. Gold chains thick as ropes hung around their necks, and their laughter was loud, confident, the sound of people who had never known lack. Students whispered about them in lecture halls and hostel rooms. Some said their parents were politicians. Others claimed oil money or Yahoo Plus, the dark kind of internet fraud that required more than laptops. Nobody knew for certain. Nobody dared ask. Kelvin had watched them for 2 years, feeling the weight of his own poverty like stones in his pockets, while the trio threw money at club bouncers and bought bottles that cost more than a semester fees. Kelvin wore the same 3 shirts in rotation. While they laughed and spread cash at parties, Kelvin walked 5 kilometers to campus because he couldn't afford Okada fare. He was tired of suffering, of watching his mother's hands crack from washing other people's clothes, of eating curry for breakfast, lunch and dinner, tired of being invisible while boys his own age lived like kings. One afternoon, he found them at their usual spot, the parking lot behind the engineering building, leaning against their cars, smoking expensive cigarettes and scrolling through their phones. Kelvin's heart hammered as he approached. His shirt was faded, his shoes had holes he had covered with black marker, but he had made up his mind. "Boss," he said, his voice smaller than he had intended, "I want to talk to Ona." Shola looked up first, his eyes scanning Kelvin from head to toe. A slow smile appeared across his face.
"Omo, see this one, oh. Wetin you want?"
I want join Una. I want be like Una. Make money like Una they make.
The trio burst into laughter. Kehinde slapped his thigh, tears forming in his eyes. Bayo shook his head, grinning.
"You,
Shola said, still laughing.
you won't join us? Omo, if you not get bears, I beg come out with your leg bears."
The insult stung. Leg bends, what they called people who walked everywhere. Kelvin felt his face burn with shame, but he stood his ground.
I serious, bros. I fit do anything. Just help me.
Something in his desperation must have resonated because the laughter died down. The trio exchanged glances, quick, meaningful looks that Kelvin couldn't read. "Anything?" Kehinde asked quietly. "Anything." Bayo crushed his cigarettes under his designer sneaker.
You sure say you get mind?
I sure.
Another exchange glance. Then Shola nodded slowly.
"Okay, meet us for ShopRite Junction tomorrow night, 10 o'clock sharp. No come late, oh."
They drove for over an hour, leaving the city lights behind until they were on wet dirt, surrounded by thick bush. Kelvin sat in the back of Shola's G-Wagon, his stomach churning with a mixture of excitement and fear. The Babalawo's compound appeared suddenly, a collection of mud buildings with zinc roofs, lit by kerosene lamps that cast dancing shadows. An old man sat, waiting on a low stool, wearing only a wrapper around his waist. His chest was covered in tribal marks that seemed to move in the lamplight.
This not a new one.
Babalawo asked.
"Yes, Baba."
Shola answered, his usual bravado gone. Even the trio were subdued here, respectful in a way Kelvin had never seen. The Babalawo studied Kelvin with eyes that seemed to see too much.
You want money?
Yes, sir.
You know say money no dey fall from sky.
Yes, sir.
Everything get price.
The old man stood slowly, his joints cracking.
The spirit will go bless you. It go need something from you. Something permanent.
Kelvin's mouth went dry.
Waiting in need.
The Babalawo smiled, showing teeth filed to points.
Your shadow.
My shadow?
Yes, it go take your shadow. You go get money, plenty cars, houses, everything where you want. But your shadow go belong to the spirits. And person when no get shadow, enough it last long for this world.
Shola stepped forward.
Baba, how long it go last?
40 days maximum. 40 days of wealth versus a lifetime of poverty. Kelvin thought of his mother's tired face, his own knowing hunger, the constant humiliation of having nothing. 40 days of living like the trial seemed like heaven compared to forever suffering. I go do am, he whispered. The ritual happened fast. Incantations in a language older than memory. Herbs burned in a clay pot. Blood is blood, mixed with something dark and thick. The Babalawo drew symbols on the ground with white chalk, made Kelvin stand in the center, and chanted until the lamplight seemed to dim. When Kelvin looked down, his shadow was gone. The lamp threw light around him, but the ground beneath his feet showed nothing. No dark outline, no proof he existed in the normal way. But his phone buzzed, a bank alert, $50 million. He started laughing and couldn't stop. For 3 weeks, Kelvin lived the dream. He bought a BMW, designer everything, moved his mother to a new house. The trio welcomed him as their fourth, called him K-Money, took him to clubs where bottles flowed like water. But something was wrong. He felt it in the way food tasted like ash, in how cold he always was, even under the Lagos sun, in the way people's eyes slid past him like he wasn't fully there. By week 4, he couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. His reflection in mirrors grew fainter each day. The trio stopped answering his calls. On day 38, Kelvin collapsed in his new BMW. Students found him there the next morning, body cold, eyes open, a smile still frozen on his face, his expensive clothes, his gold chains, his phone, all there. But when they lifted him out, the sun was shining bright, and Kelvin cast no shadow on the ground. The university held a memorial. The trio didn't attend. They were already at ShopRite Junction that night, waiting for the next desperate boy who thought 40 days of glory was worth the price. Because there was always another one, there was always another one.